While at a gas station, a man noticed a woman smoking as she was filling up her car. He thought to himself, that sure is a silly thing to do. But he knew better than to confront strangers about their stupidity. He sees two policemen on the other side of the street. They can see the woman smoking but aren't doing anything about it. As the man is going to the cashier to pay for his gas, he hears loud screaming behind him. He looks around and sees that the woman's arm is on fire. She is literally running around the gas station waving her arm in the air. The policemen jump into action at this point and put the fire out. Then they arrest the woman and handcuff her. The man thought this was harsh and that the woman should be going to the hospital, not jail. So he asked one of the policemen why they were arresting her. The cop replied, "For waving a firearm in public." A man is tired of being bossed around by his wife, so he goes to see a psychiatrist. The psychiatrist tells him he needs to build his self-esteem and gives him a book on assertiveness. He finishes the book before going back home. The man storms into the house and walks right up to his wife. Pointing a finger in her face, he says, "From now on, I want you to know that I'm the man of the house and my word is law. I want you to prepare me a gourmet meal tonight, and when I'm finished eating my meal, I expect a scrumptious dessert afterward. Then, after dinner, you're gonna draw me a bath so I can relax. And when I'm finished with my bath, guess who's going to dress me and comb my hair?" His wife replies, "The funeral director?" A rich man was trying to find his daughter a birthday gift when he saw a poor man with a beautiful white horse. He told the man that he would give him $500 for the horse. The poor man replied, "I don't know, mister. It don't look so good," and walked away. The next day, the rich man came back and offered the poor man $1,000 for the horse. The poor man said again, "I don't know, mister. It don't look so good." On the third day, the rich man offered the poor man $2,000 for the horse and said he wouldn't take no for an answer. The poor man agreed, and the rich man took the horse home. The rich man's daughter loved her present. She climbed onto the horse, then it galloped right into a tree. The rich man rushed back over to the poor man's house, demanding an explanation for the horse's blindness. The poor man replied, "I told you. It don't look so good." A woman is having an affair during the day while her husband is at work. Her 9-year-old son comes home unexpectedly, sees them, and sneaks into the bedroom closet. A few minutes later, the woman hears her husband arrive home. She hurriedly hides her lover in the closet, not knowing the boy was also hiding in there. The little boy says,
"It sure is dark in here."
The man replies, "Yes, it is." Then the boy says,
"I have a baseball.
The man says, "That's nice."
Want to buy it?"
asks the boy. "No thanks," the man answers.
"My dad's outside,"
pipes up the boy. The man sighs, "Okay, how much?"
$250,
says the boy. The man sighs, "Okay, fine." A few weeks later, the lover finds himself in the closet with the boy again. The boy says,
"It sure is dark in here."
The man responds, "Yes, it is."
"I have a baseball glove."
The lover, remembering the last time, asks the boy, "How much?"
$750,
says the boy. The man sighs again, "Fine." A few days later, the father says to the boy, "Grab your glove, let's go outside and have a game of catch." The boy says,
"I can't. I sold my baseball and my glove."
The father asks, "How much did you sell them for?" The boy grins.
$1,000.
The father says, "It's terrible to overcharge your friends like that. That's way more than they cost new. I'm taking you to church so you can confess." When they arrive at the church, the father tells the little boy to sit in the confession booth and he closes the door. The boy says,
"It sure is dark in here."
The priest says, "Okay, young man. How much this time?" A guy was hitchhiking on the side of the road on a very dark night in the middle of a storm. The storm was so strong, he could hardly see a few feet ahead of him. Suddenly, he saw a car coming towards him and stop. The guy, without thinking about it, got in the car and closed the door, and only then realized that there was nobody behind the wheel. As the car starts moving very slowly, the guy looks at the road and sees a curve coming his way. Scared, he starts to pray, begging for his life. He hasn't come out of shock when, just before the car hits the curve, a hand appears through the window and moves the wheel. The guy, paralyzed in terror, watched as the hand appeared every time they approached a curve. Gathering strength, he gets out of the car and runs all the way to the nearest town. Wet and in shock, he goes into a bar and asks for 2 shots of tequila. He starts telling everybody about the horrible experience he just went through. About half an hour later, 2 guys walked into the same bar, and one said to the other, "Look, that's the guy that got in the car while we were pushing it." A man gets a flat tire outside the fence of an insane asylum. While he's changing the tire, he sees a patient on the other side of the fence observing him, so he hurries. He gets the flat off and puts the spare on, but rushing to get out of there, he accidentally drops all 4 lug nuts down a drain. While he's standing there staring at the spare with no lugs to secure it, he hears the patient on the other side of the fence say, "Hey, mister!" He calmly replies, "Yes." The patient inquires, "What you doing?" He explains his predicament, and the patient asks, "Why don't you just take 1 lug nut off of each of the other 3 wheels and put them on the spare to get you where you're going?" The man, surprised, says, "That's a really good idea. Why are you locked up in there? You're really smart." The patient replies, "I'm crazy. Not stupid." A mother visits her son for dinner, who has a girl as a roommate. During the meal, his mother can't help but notice how pretty his roommate is. She has long been suspicious of a relationship between the two, and this has only made her more curious. Over the course of the evening, while watching the two interact, she starts to wonder if there's more between her son and his roommate. Reading his mom's thoughts, her son volunteers, "I know what you must be thinking, but I assure you, we're just roommates." About a week later, his roommate comes to him and says,
Ever since your mother came over for dinner, I've been unable to find the silver serving tray. You don't suppose your mother took it, do you?
He replies, "Well, I doubt it, but I'll email her just to be sure." He sits down and writes, "Dear Mom, after visiting me, I found that my silver serving tray is missing. I'm not saying that you took it, and I'm not saying that you didn't take it, but the fact remains that it has been missing ever since you were over for dinner. Love, your son." Several days later, he receives an email from his mother which reads, "Dear son, I'm not saying that you sleep with your roommate, and I'm not saying that you don't sleep with her. But the fact remains that if she was sleeping in her own bed, she would have found the silver serving tray by now. Under her pillow." Ma is in the kitchen fiddling around when she hollers out,
Paul, you need to go out and fix the outhouse.
Paul replies,
"There ain't nothing wrong with the outhouse."
Ma yells back,
Yes, there is. Now get out there and fix it.
Pa moseys out to the outhouse, looks around and yells back,
"Ma, there ain't nothing wrong with the outhouse."
Ma replies,
Stick your head in the hole.
Pa yells back,
"I ain't sticking my head in that hole."
Ma says,
You have to stick your head in the hole to see what needs fixing.
so with that, Pa sticks his head in the hole, looks around and yells back,
"Ma, there ain't nothing wrong with this outhouse."
Ma hollers back,
Now take your head out of the hole.
Pa proceeds to pull his head out of the hole, then yells,
Ma, help! My beard's stuck in the cracks in the toilet seat.
Ma replies,
Hurts, don't it?
a man is having marital problems, so he decides to see a therapist. The man says, I don't know what to do. Every day my wife seems to lose her temper with me for no reason. The therapist thinks for a moment, then says,
I think I have an answer for your problem. When it seems that your wife is getting angry, just take a glass of water and start swishing it in your mouth. Just swish and swish, but don't swallow, until she either leaves the room or calms down.
2 weeks later, the man goes back to the therapist looking fresh and reborn. The man says, You know, that was a brilliant idea. Every time my wife started berating me, I swished with water. I swished, and after a few minutes, she calmed right down. How does a glass of water do that? The therapist says,
The water itself does nothing. It's keeping your mouth shut that does the trick.
After the birth of their 9th child, a redneck couple decided they'd had enough because they couldn't afford a larger bed. The husband went to the veterinarian and asked to be snipped. Me and my cousin don't want no more kids, he said. The vet told him he could get a vasectomy, but it was expensive.
However, there is a cheaper option,
said the vet.
Go home, find yourself a cherry bomb, light it up, and put it in a beer can. Then hold the can up to your ear and count to 10.
I ain't no rocket surgeon, said the redneck. But how's that gonna help me?
Trust me,
said the vet. So the redneck went home, drained a beer, then stuffed a lit cherry bomb in the empty can. He then brought it up to his ear and began to count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once he got to 5, he stopped for a second, put the can between his legs, then resumed the count on his other hand. 2 billionaire friends meet up for a long overdue lunch. After a casual conversation, one of them finally asks,
So, how's your home life?
Couldn't be better, says the second guy.
I bought an elephant.
The first guy looks at him in astonishment.
An elephant? Have you gone mad?
He asks. The second guy, smiling, replies,
Oh man, let me tell you, it's the best purchase I have ever made. He grazes on the lawn, making it nice and even. The kids love him. They're always riding on his back and sliding down his trunk. It keeps them outside instead of in front of the television all day. My wife loves him too. He's super strong and helps her with moving things around when I'm not home. Let me tell you, he's the best pet I've ever had.
The other billionaire scratches his chin.
Yeah, that actually sounds pretty amazing. How much did you pay for him? $1 million. Worth every penny. He was a steal at that price,
replies the other man.
Will you sell him to me for $2 million?
The other billionaire asks.
Oh no! What are you asking? Sell him? He's like family. How about $3 million? I don't know. You really can't put a price on this kind of friendship and usefulness. All right, $5 million. $5 million? Well, okay. I'll sell him to you, but only because we're friends.
A few weeks later, the 2 billionaires meet up again. The guy who bought the elephant is very angry. As soon as he sees the other guy, he starts yelling,
What the heck did you sell to me? Not only does he not graze on the lawn, but he completely destroyed all my greenery and trees. There's elephant dung everywhere. You can even smell it inside the house. And what was that about kids? They are terrified of the thing. It's aggressive, massive, and scary. I cannot sleep because he trumpets all the time. My wife has been having nightmares, and now I won't hear the end of her bickering until I die. It's awful, the worst purchase of my entire life.
The other billionaire rolls his eyes at him and says,
Well, I don't know what to say. But with that attitude, you'll never be able to sell him.
A lawyer was sitting next to a blonde during a long flight across the Atlantic Ocean. The The lawyer soon became bored, so he decided to place a bet with the blonde. He told her that if he could not get one of her questions right, then he would give her $500. However, if the blonde could not answer the lawyer's question correctly, then she would just give him $5. The lawyer asked, "What is the third planet from the sun?" The blonde didn't have a clue, so she handed him $5. The blonde asked,
What goes up a hill with 3 legs, but comes down the hill with 4 legs?
The lawyer looked puzzled, but tried to check for an answer on his laptop. He eventually gave up and handed the $500 to the blonde. When he asked what the answer was, the blonde gave him back $5.